Okay, welcome back to the channel. Have I got a video for you today? And it's basically Dell's standard Optiplex power supply. Don't know if you can read that. It's got some pissy little 12 volt rail on it anyway. And you can see it's not exactly a quality unit. Versus the Corsair CX550. Flipping hell, I can hardly read that either, but I think it's got a 46 amp 12 volt rail, which is fairly hefty, pretty much capable of powering any single graphics card that you're likely to put in it. Here's the rig itself, ready to have the original power supply put back in. Initially, you got this stupid wire here because with the Dells you have to actually have your hard drives powered off the motherboard rather than straight from the power supply. Here's the card that's going in it, 1030 GT or GT 1030, because the GTX 1070 obviously you ain't going to be able to run that off the stock power supply, not without something blowing up. So right, I shall just turn the camera off for a minute, get the bits in, fire it up, and we'll be using this piece of equipment here to see how much power that's drawing. At the moment that's my laptop and that's just pulling 41 watts. Okay, so we're back. I've got the GT or 1030 GT in. Currently it's ticking over at high 20s in the wattage, which compared to the GTX 1070, when I looked at it, I think that was low 30s, so not really. Hang on, let's put this up there. Oh. Not much of a saving, in all honesty, to having a smaller, weaker card. But it'll be interesting to see if there's any more savings when we're back on the normal power supply. So what I was going to do is put a game on. Oh, I can't. Hang on, I'll come back. We're on to this bit of the video. I've cadged my girlfriend, got her to do some camera holding for me because it's a nightmare trying to mess around playing a game and showing power usage. So some people will get this. I hope you are well. And yeah, I'm 8-Pack's apprentice in the gym and when it comes to overclocking as well. Shout out to 8-Pack. Anyway, what we got here, at the moment we're seeing how much power it draws while it's playing a game. At the minute we've got obviously the GT 1030. Hang on, I've got to start the flipping game here, haven't I? And that's drawing 75 watts. This is with the flipping shit Dell power supply. Hopefully it might be a little bit better with that Corsair one, but we'll find out. So I'll just have a couple of minutes gaming, see how much it pulls, because this would be like typical use if I was actually playing. Well, I play War Thunder more than anything, so under typical use this is what we're doing. You can look at the screen, by the way. You don't have to just look at the thing, because it might be a little bit more interesting looking at the screen for a second. Right. Just have keep having a quick look at that though, just in case when something happens it starts pulling a bit more juice. I see it hit 90 watts there for a second. Oh flipping out, I ain't put VSync or nothing on. It's on low settings because I couldn't be asked to try and work out what the best is. Might be a little bit of screen tear because it's only a 60 FPS screen. Oh, there's always some flipping donut when I run into you, isn't there, these low levels. Alright, how's it doing? Alright, looks like it's going to pull about 80 watts, doesn't it? Generally. Right, I'm going to exit out of this. Sorry whoever's playing, you're going to have to manage without me. Oh, there we go. Right, you can cut the video. Okay, right, I'm now putting it under some heavy load. We're doing the Fire Strike physics test, and then that's going to do the combined test, physics and GPU, and that's where it's going to really use the power. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that compares to the to the other power supply, whether you're actually going to save a little bit of electric as well as have a reliable system that's not going to flip and turn everything to toast, which it could. I've had it happen. That's rare, but it's still a possibility. So, you know, if you put an expensive graphics card in one of these, it's something you need to think about. I personally wouldn't even consider running anything with the stock power supply. Right, so this is both, and this is the GT 1030, which I think they're a 70 or 75 watt card, and that will be ramped up to the max now. Yeah, that's showing 100% usage. So there you go, 75 watt power draw. So for anyone who's questioning, will the standard Dell power supply support, I don't know, a plug-in graphics card? Well, the answer is yes. It's just a question of whether you want to risk that graphics card getting messed up. But if the card was cheap and you're not worried about it, then I guess really you could get away with using the standard power supply. But right, I'll just now swap them over and run the tests again and see how they compare. Right, we've got the Corsair power supply loaded in now, and I've just booted the PC up same as before, letting it tick over, and it looks to me like she's using a couple of watts less electricity with the Corsair. So despite, you know, the fact as well that you haven't got to worry about anything blowing up because you've got a decent supply, it looks like you might save a bit of electric. But I'll just get a game loaded up and do a bit of filming, and we'll see what the difference is again, and we'll run a benchmark again and see what the difference is. But she's definitely old and steady. Right, this is Fire Strike physics again. We're on about 66 watts at the minute. I can't remember what that was pulling before. So it might actually be pulling slightly more, I'm not too sure. But what I have noticed on the first two tests was what was happening. That'd spike up quickly at the beginning of each one, and then that'd settle down to like 56, 57 watts, whereas I think that was 60 on the Dell supply. But it'd just sit once it settled where it was, whereas the Dell one seemed to move around a little bit more. Right, that's definitely a good watt or two. I think some of the time lower. I've spiked up again there. Well, there we are, 62 that went up to on the combined test. So we've just got the gaming test left. Okay, just doing another little game on War Thunder, this time with the Corsair. I think the peak that pulled that I saw out of the corner of my eye before was about 90 watts. But the way the supply's been working when I've been doing the other benchmarks, it's almost like when the computer needs a bit more extra juice, that pumps it in a bit faster than that Dell one, so it looks like you get a little bit of a spike, but once it's kind of doing what it's doing, it seems to settle a little bit more than what the Dell one did. The Dell was a little bit more up and down, but just see, so have a look what that's doing on there. So we're on 77.2, I can't remember what it was averaging on the other one. What I will say is we're getting more FPS. That was only sitting around 75 FPS on the other. Oh, it's gone down, so it could be the map. Forget that. Right, I'll just see if I can capture this point, do a suicide. And that'll be the end of that. Just keep an eye on that power draw. Gone on the wrong bit, haven't I? How's it looking? 75. See, it don't fluctuate much at all, does it? literally just staying wherever you happen to put it. Right, okay, I'll end it here. Thank you very much.